Let's take a closer look at the holy days now talked about in Leviticus 23. It says in Leviticus 23 in verse 1, "And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel." That's us. That's not the Jews. The Jews are one of the tribes of the 12 tribes of Israel, but they're just one. I know that's another message, but when it says the children of Israel, you can include yourself in that. Because if you've been baptized into Yeshua the Messiah, then through Yeshua, who was a descendant of King David, who was a descendant of Judah, that makes you part of the tribe of Judah anyway, which was one of the 12 sons of Jacob, who was Israel. So when it says the children of Israel, it's speaking to you and me. So it says here that Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, the feasts of Yahweh." You see, it doesn't say the Jewish feasts. It says the feasts of Yahweh, which you shall proclaim to be holy convocations. These are my feasts. These feasts are important because he kept them. They were being kept since the Garden of Eden, at the time of Abraham, at the time of Yeshua, and then again they're being kept now, and we are going to be keeping them in the millennium when Yeshua returns, of course. So these feasts were never postponed, they were never put on hold, they were never put away or destroyed, and they're not a Jewish thing. They're a thing that we should all be doing because they point us in the direction of Yeshua and Yahweh and their plan for salvation for all mankind. Okay, so let's see what his first feast is. What does he mention in verse 3? 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is a Sabbath of solemn rest, a holy convocation. You shall do no work on it. It is the Sabbath of Yahweh in all your dwellings. Wait, is that a mistake? In verse 3, why is the Sabbath mentioned here among all the holy days? The holy days of Yahweh. That's because it is. See, we have the annual holy days, the annual Sabbaths, and we have the weekly holy day and the weekly Sabbath. And we are to keep it every week, because even on a weekly basis, we are reminded of Yahweh's plan. We are reminded of the millennium that is coming, which will be the 7th millennium, the 7th day. And so that's why the Sabbath is listed with the holy days. So it's really the first one mentioned, but it's the weekly holy day that we're to keep every week, starting Friday night at sunset and continuing 24 hours until Saturday night at sunset all around the world. And that's a day that we don't work, we don't sell, we don't buy, we don't do our thing. It's not a day to feel restricted. It's a day to be free from the world. It's a day to spend with your family, with Yahweh, with the Bible, with study, listening to sermons, speaking to other people about the Bible, having Bible study. A day of rest, a day of relaxation. It's not a day to clean the house, a day to go to football games or ball games or go bowling or to the movies. It's a day to spend with Yahweh, with your family, a day of rest and relaxation, studying His Word. It's a holy convocation, and it's a day to get together with other brethren, to study the Bible, to sing psalms, to share experiences, to pray for each other, to pray together. There are many different ways. Okay, then we continue in verse 4 with the first annual holy day. Actually, it's not really an annual holy day. It occupies its own special place, and that is the Passover ceremony, which is a commemoration of Yeshua's death and resurrection. And it's a solemn day. It's a very serious day, and it's a day that we are to keep once a year those of us, well, everyone is to keep it, but those of us who are baptized in Yeshua are to do the following things that I'm going to go over. So it says here in verse 4, "These are the feasts of Yahweh, holy convocations, which you shall proclaim at their appointed times. On the 14th day of the first month at twilight is Yahweh's Passover." Okay, so the Passover is kept on the 14th day of the first month. So now you have to figure out when the first month is. So you count from around the time of March or April, from the new moon. And the new moon is the opposite of a full moon. So a full moon is when the moon is completely white and solid. We know that. And the new moon is when it's completely black, so you can't see it. Well, I'll give you some help. Go online and search for a new moon or a moon cycle lunar phase indicator, and it'll show you the phases of the moon. When it is completely black, I'm going to try to put a link on in the I'll include a link that will show you the phases of the moon. It will always keep you updated on the phases of the moon. And when you get into March and April, you get to the black moon, that is the conjunction, and that is the new moon, and that's when the year starts. So you count 14 days from then, 14 days from then, and that is when we keep the Passover. Okay? So the Passover is when we remember our commitment, our pact, our covenant that we've made with Yahweh and Yeshua. And we remember Yeshua's death and resurrection on that day. So just to go through it quickly, on the Passover night, you come together right after sunset, and it's good to get together with brethren. And what you do first is, it's a very serious night. You read a lot of scriptures, and I'm going to include a website, one website that you can go check, and that will show you the dates of the holy days during the year. And another website will show you, will give an outline, a more complete outline and explanation of what to do for the Passover, all the scriptures that you can look up. I'm not going to go over them right here. I'm just going to give you a rough idea. But it will give you a list of all the scriptures that you can read for the Passover and the exact explanation of how to carry out a Passover if you were to do it in your house or with your small congregation. But basically, in a nutshell, you get together and it's a semi-formal situation, and you're going to start off. You're going to read some scriptures, but you start off by washing each other's feet. So men wash men's feet, and women wash women's feet. Just one another's feet. You don't have to wash everyone's feet there. But that's we were given that example in Mark. Let me tell you right here. We're given the example to wash each other's feet in John 13. Like I said, I'll include the link so that you can check out all the different scriptures on those things. Then, after you wash each other's feet, which shows humility, and it's also the example that Yeshua gave us, then you have unleavened bread. You prepare a small little amount of unleavened bread, which represents the body of Yeshua, and some red wine to drink, which represents the blood. And when you read the scriptures, you do this the same way that Yeshua gave us the example. You drink the blood, you drink the wine, which represents the blood, and you eat the bread, the unleavened bread, which represents his body. And then you read many scriptures that remind you of everything that happened that night to commemorate the death and resurrection of our Savior, Yeshua the Messiah. And you can sing a hymn, and you can pray, and that's basically what you do that night. Now I'll include the links, and you can read over them and study more into this and see them in Leviticus 23 also. And so I'll include those links. Please study up on that, and that's a basic outline and explanation of the Passover.